guys when I'm getting this sorted. Let me know if this is coming through, if the sound's coming through, all that sort of stuff. Radio, g'day, Stu from UAV Futures here, and today, this is welcome to the FPV Mix, where we're just getting together, having a bit of a live stream, answering some of your questions. I've moved the camera around today because quite often it sits over on this monitor, and I wasn't sure where I was looking, so just kind of still getting used to all this FPV live stream stuff, but we're just going to watch some videos, answer your questions, and have a bit of fun. But first things first, if you could, in the comments, let me know. If you've got any questions, definitely stick them down below, but I need to know how's the quality of the stream. Is it jittering around? What is the sound coming through like? All that sort of stuff. Is the mic clear? That's the things I want to get first before we jump in, answer some questions while people start piling in. And also let me know what the time is where you are as well, because right here, it's about 9:30 in the morning. All right, so we've got a few people coming in. Peter, Burrow FPV, how's it going, Stu? It's a little bit cold and chilly outside, actually, so I'm sitting in here. The heater is blaring away, and yeah, it's just a nice day, I guess, to be stuck indoors, even though we are forced indoors as it is. There's a complete lockdown. I can't go outside, can't do any flying, anything like that. So, well, what better thing to do than a live stream? All right, Dwight Schrute is saying everything is coming through loud and clear. Fantastic. Love your work on The Office, Dwight. I think you're a very interesting character and appreciate all you do as well for my entertainment. Nice for you to jump in and feel like a celebrity if you're watching my FPV videos. All right. Let's have a look. Oh, and I must give a shout out to Malice Vex. I saw him as the first person to leave a bit of a comment. And the crazy part is, I know that crazy bugger, and I can guarantee you guys, he's pretty much a vampire. He's probably waiting up to go to bed. I'm sure he has been up all night playing some video games, mucking around, getting on the sim, messing around with his drones, and I think he ends up going to sleep at like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. So it's kind of the exact opposite of, I can see him in the chat there. He's having a bit of a giggle, but yeah. Definitely a very, very cool character who I speak to daily on Discord. And if you haven't checked out the Discord, the links are going to be in the description. It should be up there. So I don't know if you guys can read that in the description on this video. But today, what are we talking about? Well, we're going to be answering some questions, but I thought it might be a really cool way to sort of go back through memory lane and talk about when I first met Grumpy Trev, how we first met Crash Test Cal, Wingman Jono, we've got Granger in there as well, Long Range Tony, and just have a bit of a chat about how you meet people in FPV, how we all got together, and how the UAV Futures core crew kind of started, and then also the extended crew. I'll talk a little bit about the people on Discord who do a lot of work behind the scenes, and I chat with them every day, and I just talk about the relationships in FPV, because that's one of my favorite things about this hobby is not only these amazing flying FPV flying blender robots in the air, but also the connections you make with people as well. All right, so Cody, and we'll also, of course, answering some of your questions. So, and it makes it so much easier too. If you tag me with the little @ symbol at UAV Futures, it highlights it in orange when. So, if you've got a question, please tag it there, because otherwise, in the stream of chat, it's so much easier. If you've got a question for me, or you just want to have a bit of a comment read out, or you're giving a shout out or something like that, and you want me to do it, tag at UAV Futures. It makes it so much easier for that question to pop up and easy for me to read. Or, of course, you could always throw me a super chat, which is, of course, very much appreciated. Well, let's have a look here. So we're just scrolling down a little bit, and it's almost over. Why would I lose D-Shot 1200 with firmware update? Only have D-Shot 600 now. I'm I don't know the full context of that, but I'm going to guess maybe there might have been some issues with D-Shot 1200 possibly. So unless there was something just to make it more reliable, so they took that out until they could fix some of those issues. But I know some people that were having issues when they really cranked up their ESC firmware. So that's what we're talking about that one. But I can also see Malice Vex, like I was talking about before. He definitely is saying, "Yep, lol." He has not gone to bed yet. All right, so Cody Essie, and thanks so much for everybody tagging me with your questions. I can see it there. It's much easier. It's showing up in orange. Where to buy Crossfire? So have you? I don't know if we have a bit of a Google. I think you could buy it from the TBS site. Let's have a bit of a look here. Team Black Sheep, unless it's out of stock. And I've even tried to set up some hotkeys too. So bear with me. Hopefully this doesn't make the stream blow up. Boom. Ah, look at that. Press of a button. It's like I've been doing this for days, maybe a couple of hours. Anyway, so do they not sell the Crossfire on here, on the TBS site? So popular products. Let's have a look here in the shop. So, and for anybody wondering what the Crossfire system is, it's like their radio or their transmitter unit that either goes in radios or it comes as the whole Tango 2, and you just get some very, very good range with it. Let's just have a look on here. Sure, TBS Crossfire. Here we go. Out of stock. Ah, I see what the problem is. Out of stock. Ooh, the long range to out of stock. Okay. I actually don't know, but you could think about picking up one of these bad boys that are on pre-order. The TBS Tango 2, whether you get the Pro or I think the base version was 150, 160. This is my radio of choice. This is just I don't know. It's amazing. You watch all the videos. I think Stingy loved it. It's just a brilliant radio to pick up, fly around with, get good range, feels great in the hands. It's got a lot of fantastic features in there. Radio. Let's keep answering some of your questions in here. Jimba. Oh man, there's so many. Thank you. Uh, which FPV drone is the best iFlight Nazgul? 4S, 5S, or 6S? So I think 6S if you're just going to be getting into it and you've already got 6S batteries, but the difference that it makes between don't switch over. If you've already got a lot of 4S batteries already, there's no reason to go get the 6S and then have to buy all new batteries. The 4S version was more than enough, I would say, for most pilots out there. So just jump in, have fun with the batteries you've already got. They'll definitely be compatible. But if you don't have any batteries whatsoever and you're a brand new pilot getting into the hobby, 6S I think is the way to go because they seem to have a little bit better efficiency. And if you don't have to buy things twice, well, why not just jump in and get 6S from the get-go? Radio Apple Boy Apple Boy AV, which FPV? Oh, we just answered that question. Sorry. Dwight Schrute, any word on the 2020 $100 build? Nope, not yet. And Nate at UAV Futures, can you do a battery tutorial with the 2019 $99 build? And absolutely, if we just have a look here, I'll look at Bangers because they have a large range of batteries. Let's look here, just if I search up LiPo, and I should be able to press this key here, and boom. Radio. So, LiPos. In that one, in the $99 build, I think it's a 4S build, and I often get this question, if there's not any links in the description of that video, there should be about batteries, but what you kind of want for it, let's say this is our drone here, we're talking about a 5-inch, and this is going to be generic advice for all 5-inches out there. If you have a drone like this and you're worried about what batteries to get, the higher C rating you can get is always going to be better. Now, take that with a grain of salt because some companies like to fluff around a little bit and say, oh, this is a bazillion C or 100 C, 120 C. Those batteries are quite often overrated with the statements that they're giving, so they're not a true representation. Everybody seems to be upping and upping their C. Like this here, this Zop Power, this says this is a 65C battery. I would be skeptical of that. It seems like C ratings over the years have been inflated just a little bit, and generally, the higher quality brand batteries seem to do a more accurate representation of the C rating, but look, take it all with a grain of a grain of salt. But what we want to do, say this is a 5-inch, it's running a 4S quad. What we want to do for our battery is probably pick something between 1100 milliamps and 1600 milliamps. They're going to be your safe bets. 1100 milliamps is going to be for a bit of a lighter quad that has less amp draw, and 1600 milliamps is going to be for a more of a heavy draw freestyle quad that's also it's going to have a fair bit of weight as well, but you might get some longer flight times. And then if you want to just pick somewhere in a safe middle ground, think about picking something like I would actually probably like this pack here, this 1550 100C Life. That's not too bad price actually. A 4S, $26. That's actually really good, especially for tattoo. They're a reputable brand. You can see here though, this is probably a lower C pack, 100C. How is that? This one seems very cheap. Okay, I don't know. Let me know in the comments, but I don't know how much your batteries cost, but $25 for a tattoo 1550. That's a fairly large battery as well. So I don't know. I'd be happy to fly that around. There we go. There's a nice little representation. I'll probably go check that out. You can have a bit of a Google. Ken Simmons is saying hello to you back. Let's jump over to answers. Oh, don't press those buttons. What's happening here? That didn't work out quite so well. What I actually want to do is jump over to. Oh, that did work on here. All right. So some of my buttons are all crisscrossed on here. Anyway, let's have a look. Is it possible to do telemetry on the FSI6 transmitter and the FSI? So we're talking FlySky here. This one is from Jeremy Wolf. And look, I'm definitely not the know-it-all when it comes to this one. The amount of telemetry I use on my drones is minimal anyway. Most of it is automatically set up and comes through my OSD with what I've set up on the Crossfire or what has come through on my traditional Taranis radios when I've been using them. And it's just not something that I ever not that I never bothered to take that extra step to set it up if it wasn't already there. So if it worked out of the box, I was like, oh sweet, all I really needed was my battery voltage, which I could get anyway, and sometimes my radio strength on my OSD. But in terms of setting it up with the FlySky transmitter, which is one of the cheapest transmitters on the market, with the FlySky receiver, I actually don't know. I'm sure maybe if you know the answer to that one, someone can put that in the comments. I wish I did know the answer, but I also don't want to give you the wrong information there in case you're about to possibly purchase the FlySky i6 and that I don't want to say yes, and then you end up buying it and it doesn't do that. So I'm not 100% sure. Jimba FPV, and thank you so much for those people who are still putting in their questions. Wants to know how was my Easter? It was nice actually. We woke up, we did like a little Easter thing, like a bunny rabbit thing for my daughter, and she got to eat her first, I guess, large Easter egg, which was probably I don't know the size of a phone here, and then she went a little bit crazy. We had to kind of put her to bed early because she was going a bit ballistic. It's so much chocolate running around and decided she didn't want to eat lunch. She only wanted chocolate. She could only have chocolate for lunch. Okay, so we did our battery tutorial. We did that from Nate. Um, this one's from James, and thank you so much for tagging me. A sort of beginner, is smaller drone or bigger drone better to learn to fly acro? So if you're a beginner just coming in and you want to learn to fly acro, first things first, you need to get on the simulator, whether it be one of the cheaper ones like FPV Air 2, which I think is great for like $5. I think there's FPV Freerider. You could go more expensive, Velocidrone, DCL. What's the one I'm forgetting? There's another really big one as well. Velocidrone, DCL, and I'm sure you guys can let me know this in the comment. I'd have to check my Steam, but they're gonna kill me that last one that I can't remember. Anyway, there's another one out there as well. But jump on the sim. As far as what drone you should get, if you're a beginner, you can never go wrong with getting a 5-inch drone. They are like so versatile. They're fairly robust. You don't have to go crazy power, but I think a 5-inch drone is what, if I could only have one drone as well, it's going to be cheaper if you don't have to buy a whole fleet. If you just had to get one drone, definitely think about picking up just a 5-inch. All right, this one is an easy one. This one is from Brox Lopez Hart. So he wants to know, should he be getting the Attitude V5s, which are these goggles here? And hopefully this screen jump works. So he wants to know, should he be picking up these goggles right here or the Sky Zone O2Cs or O2Xs? And So these ones are in stock. They're about $300. And the other ones to get, if I do a bit of a Google here, let's see, Sky Zone O2Xs or O2Cs, which are these ones. So the other ones are $300. These ones, so these ones, oh yeah, we've got some white ones in stock. These ones are $260. And even if they were the same price, so you save $40 on this one, without a doubt, I would pick these goggles here. These are my go-to goggles of choice, although I've got the O2Xs, but to be honest, the difference is very, very minimal. I think it might just be the front-facing camera, possibly, but the O2Cs, yeah, my goggle of choice. I love them. The receiver works great. You can even watch a comparison in my latest video where we put them up against one of the fancy pants $100 modules. I think it was the Foxy Wildfire. And yeah, you be the judge. These goggles were the bomb. And also, if you watch my Sky Zone review, Calvin or Crash Test Cal, he directly compares he's talking side by side between those two goggles, between the Fat Sharks and between the Sky Zones, one after another. So if you want a detailed breakdown, he can answer those questions right here. All right, looks like Malice is typing some junk in the chat right here. He should be going to bed. Dwight, I really think you should make drone theory stories. It would really help new. I don't know what you mean by drone theories, like the science behind it, all that sort of stuff. Let me jump over to my. Oh, that's it. What about this button? There we go. John Doe, best FC, ESC, motor, etc. for a budget build. Now, budget build, you're probably going to be looking at some Emax Ecos or the iFlight. I think they're the iFlight E's, might be what they're called. We've got a Mamba VTX, the Mamba stacks, which are good. And then what was the other part you were asking about? Best. So we've done the flight controller, ESCs, mode. Oh, those three. So the iFlight Ecos or the Emax Ecos, and then maybe the Mamba stack, which comes with the ESC and flight controller and that sort of stuff. And Playmate1 hasn't tagged me with @UAV Futures, so I would love to read out your question about what are the most safest VTXs for micros and what is a safe VTX. But please tag me with @UAV Futures. It makes it so much easier to answer your questions. But we'll answer this one anyway. Seeing we've read it out, is a safe VTX. So I don't know what you mean by safe in terms of pumping out the correct milliwatts or whatever or something that's not going to burn out. What's the most reliable? If you're trying to ask that, a reliable VTX is probably anything by Immersion RC, anything by TBS, the Rush Tank VTXs I quite like. I've been using them a little bit. So also there's another. I can picture the actual board one that's in my mind, but I can't remember the name. I'll come back to it if I do that. I don't want to hold the stream up just to while my brain has a bit of a stall. But yeah, definitely check out anything like that. Or to be honest though, just if it's a budget one, I'd be more than happy to fly around with some old school budget VTXs or anything like that. Even though people might be like, oh, don't get an eSheen VTX, don't get I don't know what another VTX is. It still might be more than enough for some people, especially if you're on a budget. All right. So Joseph S, thank you so much for tagging me. What do you think about the T16 from Jumper? Also, which radio do you prefer for 3-inch build? Which receiver do you prefer for 3-inch builds? So the Jumper T16, which is this bad boy. They don't even sell that here. So Jumper T16. That is, oh, here we go. We can have a look at phaser. And I should be able to press this button. Here we go. So the Jumper T16 is a fantastic radio. I think it's a little bit cheaper if you buy it from China somewhere. So this might be in AU dollars because Phaser FPV, it's an Australian shop, which is a pretty cool one. I've had some stuff from there in the past. He always really seems like a pretty cool dude. But the Jumper T16, what do I think about it? It was a great radio, especially if you've got a lot of things to bind up because it's multi-protocol, which means it's going to work with a whole bunch of different drones that you've got, whether you're flying, whether you've traditionally been on Futaba, it can bind up to FreeSky, it can bind up to FlySky, it can do a whole bunch. And also, it's a good wing radio. So if you want to jump in, fly around, have some wings. What have I done to the stream? Still going. I'm just, have I paused this? What's happening? Why? Can you guys still hear me? I don't know why this is not. I'm gonna have to press refresh on this page. Um, Let me know in the chats. So I'm also recording. All right, I don't know what's going on here with my stream, but like I was saying, hopefully this is still working. If not, I'll answer this question, then I'll read some chats and make sure you guys can still hear what I'm talking about. But what I was saying, the Jumper T16, yeah, it can bind up to anything, and if you've got wings, it's fantastic because you've got all these little buttons and switches and stuff up here that you can use to set your wings up when you're flying around. Oh, cool, we're still recording. I don't know why it's stopped on my screen here. It looks like when I'm watching back the video, it's just been paused, unless I press pause, or who knows what's happened unless I've clicked the wrong button. Anyway. Okay, so yeah, so that's probably a good option to get if you're a budget person, you've got a lot of stuff. Or, like I mentioned, like we had a look at before, the Tango 2 from TBS, I think it's a fantastic radio as well. If you're just going to fly drones, that's the radio that I would choose. Okay, so let me get back to answering some of these questions before I got confused with what's happening on my stream. ETA on micro digital. So this one's from Ghetto Bird FPV, and I just want to say too, thanks for watching my videos, Ghetto Bird, because I've seen your picture, your little icon right there, quite a few times on my stream. So it's very much appreciated that you keep stopping by, and micro digital. I don't know. I don't know any more than you guys do. I would say there's some hard limitations to overcome it. Look, it might be coming. We've had the CADX Vista. They had to do a few sacrifices right there to get that into that small form factor, but is it going to be getting smaller than that? I would love it to be, but I don't know. Don't hold your breath. And I can see Malice is in there too, Malice Vex. FPV, he is also agreeing. He's tried out, I know he's tried out the Attitudes, and also he actually owns a pair of the Sky Zones, and he seems to love those goggles as well. Fly Wish, Fly to Fish wants to know what are the best fat sharks, and I would say there is no, it best needs clarification. If you mean the highest quality, like they're top of the premium one. I quite like the original HDOs. I don't know about the HDO2s. They didn't work out of the box, and they touched my eyelashes when I was flying, which was a little bit concerning. I have a review somewhere on my channel, but I think if I had to, I would choose the original HDOs. Isaac, no. Hi, Stu. Is there a benefit to bottom mounting your battery? There is actually. I think this is something that was spoken about a little. I know people love to put top mounted batteries on for freestyle. They say it feels better for their center of gravity, all that sort of stuff. But if you have, here we go. I can use this as an example. Here's a old texture that, of course, someone hasn't put the lid on because a toddler's just been scribbling everywhere. You can see some wonderful artwork back over this side. But if this is my flying around with my drone, I put my battery in here. 90% of the time, when your drone is flying, you are on a pretty hefty angle, especially if you're racing. So when you crash and you hit the ground, your battery then, your drone is going to tip in and crash and hit the deck. Your battery is going to be generally a little bit better protected when it's on the bottom, because drones don't crash this way. Drones very rarely crash right way up. Usually it's upside down, full speed into the ground, especially if you're doing racing. So a bottom mounted battery is going to actually be better protected than a top mounted battery. If you've got your battery on the top, quite often it's going to get mashed. It's going to be the first thing that hits the ground. But on the flip side, what do you want to break? Do you want your battery to break, or do you want your drone to be taking the impact? It's up to you. Something like this, I'd be more than happy for this canopy to take the impact. This is I can't wait to do the video on this. This is one of the best secret design canopies. Just look at it. This thing is an absolute work of art, and it's extremely robust. It's really, really cool, the tech they're using in there. So that is its own video, but I need to get out and do more testing. I just wish the government would lift these restrictions. So thanks so much, Isaac. No, UAV. This one's from Ed L at UAV Futures. Have you tried Velocidrone? How accurate is it to actually flying an FPV drone in real life? And this goes for so many people. And spoiler alert. And some people are going to say you can tweak the settings, you can do this, blah 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 blah. You know what? I've tried all the sims. I've tried heaps of different settings here, and I've been flying drones for about 5 years now, 6 years. It doesn't accurately represent real life. Like you can never get it. That's not an accurate statement. You can never get it 100% like real life. It's always going to feel different out in the field, but you can get it 90% of the way there. It still absolutely teaches you the muscle memory, which is the number one thing you need to learn when flying drone. Oh, here's the throttle. I know where that is. Here's the yaw stick. I don't need to think about it. I can control the drone like on the sim like I can in real life. So in Velocidrone, I'd say you are 90% of the way there. You are like that in all the sims. They are absolutely amazing learning tools. And if I was going to be teaching my kids to fly, I'd say you need to be able to fly through this little track on the sim before you even think about going outside. And I can guarantee people in the chat can attest to this. If you can get through a few gates on the sim, if you could do 3 laps on Velocidrone, you are absolutely going to be able to then do 3 laps out in the field. It is like the only difference is there might be more power on the sim, or there might be more power on the drone you've got in real life. It's not as forgiving when you crash in real life, and there might be a few oscillations, or your quad might handle ever so slightly differently in real life. There might be a few little things. You might not be used to the radio, if you're using a different radio out in the field, if you're used to just flying radio, but maybe not if you're using the radio on the sim. But anyway, it is absolutely 100% the best way to go. Okay. Dwight is asking about heavy lifting drones. I do not have any. I have an old frame wheel, or whatever they're called, but I've never done any big drones. So sorry, I can't show you some of those boys. Malice is saying sims are the best to learn in liftoff. So there you go. He's giving you hip. Oh, everybody's saying liftoff, liftoff, liftoff. Oh, that's the one I was forgetting. Thank you. So that's the sim I was forgetting. I'm glad. This is how far back I am on the questions after that little. I don't know why my stream looked like it stopped on my questions, but I'm glad you guys can still hear me. Hi Stu, this one's from Will T. I'm looking to upgrade my Mob 7 and I've heard you recommended the Tadpole last stream. Would you still recommend this? I want something smaller than a 5-inch now. Yeah, I love the Tadpole from Armaton. I think it's a fantastic little robust quad that can really take a beating. It comes with a warranty and of course it's Armaton, so it's always going to be good. All right, I think we've got Jimmy jumping in here. Hi, Steve. Maybe. Ice Gold. Do you have any tips to fly smoother? Yep, I would lower your rates. If your quad is jittering all over the place or you're just finding it a little bit too tricky, lower your rates. And this brings me, I guess, I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom because I feel like I'm missing a lot of questions here. A little bit onto what I want to talk about this stream, which is all about the origins of FPV and how people started flying and their first meeting and making those relationships with other pilots. And I can remember, shout out to this guy called Nick, who he was the first person I ever met who was into drones as well. And I remember he said, yeah, come out. I met him at the park. We're flying around. And he's like thinking, he told me later, he's like, man, I'm thinking, how is this guy so smooth through the turns? How was he able to get through that gap? And I flew his drone. And the difference was, the reason my drone was smooth is because my expo was so large and my rates were so low. When I went full deflection on the drone, this is about how fast it turned. If I remember trying to do my first roll because I broke an arm because it turned this fast. That's full deflection. Probably took about 1.5 to 2 seconds still to do a complete roll. And it was like, a quarter of a second. That's how fast his was spinning. So my drone was about 8 times less responsive on the sticks, which meant it was a lot easier to get through the gaps. And you need to just find that middle ground. You don't want it that squishy. That was far too low. It was a rookie error. I didn't know better. I had no one else to teach me. And I did end up boosting them once I realized, oh, look, I couldn't even do a roll and I broke that arm. But if you want to be smoother, have a little bit more expo and don't make your rates super high. And that's probably the number one thing you can do. It's going to be much easier for you to hit gaps and be a little bit smoother. And speaking of other things too, meeting people, that same place where a lot of people want to know, how did I meet Grumpy Trev? And I've got to give a shout out to that grumpy old bugger. And it's at that same place we're flying around. It was at this, let me get this video up. Here we go. It was at this little park thing. So if I go to my videos, my channel, and videos, and sort by oldest, there's probably a lot of videos here. Yeah, it was at this one. I've got to wait. There's some silly ad on in the background. And if I go here, who wants to play Fallout 76? Not me. No, thank you, Bethesda. So yeah, it was at this is the place where the I know I've shown this video a few times. Here we go. So this is right here. We're talking about meeting Trevor because Trevor was parked over here one day, and I remember getting this email. Right. So this is how I met Trev. Uh, I got this email that says, "Oh, hi. I guess my name's Trevor. I've been flying drones for a couple of years. I'm quite interested in FPV. I've got a few FPV rigs. Would you like to meet up and go for a fly? Here's my number if you ever want to contact me." So I rang this guy. I had no idea it was some grumpy old man who was some grumpy bugger that would become one of my best friends. So we go out flying all the time. And I rang this guy and just said, "Oh, hey, is this Trevor, please?" He said, "Yeah, speaking." And said, "Oh, look, it's my name's Stu. I fly drones and I just got your email. I think we're in the same city." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, sure. We should meet up sometime." I said, "Oh, great, great. Come down here." And so we organized. I said, "I'll be flying next Saturday. This is the spot that we're going to be flying." And I remember, I was standing about here. And it was great too, because this meant the general public couldn't really see where you were sitting. If you're sitting behind here and some cops drove past or some, I don't know, other people drove past, not that, the cops ever have an issue with us flying. We're always flying safe and they're always really cool. But it's just nice if you don't have heaps of people, I guess, standing around and I don't know, feel a little bit more secure. So we're just all sitting here. Trevor was parked over in this spot over here, and he was with some other mates too. Shout out to, I think he was with Jared, and I can't remember. Maybe it was Jared and Dave. They're Trevor's mates. They're over there, and we're all flying around. And Trevor was kind of waiting there so politely. It was like this little special discourse that he had we all finished flying, and then I remember waving to Trevor and Trevor waving back, and I was like, "Come over." And then he walked over. Look at the smile again on my face. Oh, the memories, the feels right in the heart. And then yeah, Trev came over and we just started talking FPV, and he had a blackout, which was one of the first original drones. Like, they were expensive too. Those frames like $120 back in the day, and motors were $50. Anyway, he had this blackout. He flew that around. Of course, they were filled with absolute garbage in terms of, we had stupid Mobulus cameras on the front that we didn't have any camera tilt. We had really old 3S motors, different covered in LEDs that made no sense. All the GPS he might have even had on there in some days, and just all this really dumb stuff that didn't need to be on our everyday park flyer. And anyway, so we met up, and then I said, "Oh, we're going to be going out the next week. Do you want to come?" And yeah, sure enough, Trevor came, and then the next week, "Oh, Trevor, I'm going here. Do you want to come?" Yep, he came. And then it was like that. When everybody else would sometimes drop off, "I can't make it this week. I'm not going to be there. Oh, I'm going overseas for a holiday, blah, blah, blah." Whatever these other pilots were doing that would come and go, Trevor and myself were two pilots that really had the bug. Like, we could not wait to get out and get flying. Even after work, after I was finished teaching at school, whatever was, yeah, let's meet up, let's go for a fly. And without a doubt, for about 2 years, Trevor and myself were just flying every single time. And that's when I was like, "Man, I'm making these videos. You should jump in here and answer some of these questions that people have. Let's get your opinions." And yeah, so he absolutely loved it. I've totally forgotten about the stream, talking way too much about Trevor. There you go, Trevor. I do miss you, you grumpy old bastard. A lot of good memories. And people ask, "Where's Trevor now?" And it's because he is doing an awful lot of stuff especially he works in like the medical sort of area and with IT and computers, and he's super busy. So right now, I don't think Trevor's going to be getting out for a fly anytime soon. But yeah, anyway, it was a very nice time and meeting Trev, and it was a big place in my heart. He's definitely got to come out for more flights. And a lot of times lately, I've been like, "Trevor, we're going out here," but unfortunately, of course, his business is really eating up a lot of his time. What are you doing, Trev? How dare you be working for yourself instead of coming out flying? All right, let's get back to some other questions. If I jump over here, so we all fall down FPV. Where do you find the best spot to mount your VTX and your receiver? So I would say just inside, um, anywhere inside your frame, inside your canopy, inside if you've got a carbon top plate, you can often mount the VTX to that, but just make sure it's all mounted inside. And one exception is when it comes to the pigtail of your FPV antenna, don't make it sticking out the top like we used to. We were so stupid back in the day. We used to have these top plate frames and our little antenna would be coming out the top. That is just asked to get hit and snapped off. So what a lot of people do is zip tie them down so they're hanging out the back, so they're not sticking out the back, and they have it on a it's not joined at the SMA connection. That's not where you zip tie it down. Zip tie it down on the actual stalk of the antenna itself. I don't know if that's the correct term, but if this is the top of your circular polarized antenna, this is the SMA connector where it plugs into your receiver. Zip tie it down somewhere in the middle because that stalk part is far less breakable. It's much more robust. It's going to take a crash better. And you can see sometimes if you get little antennas like this one, it is simply zip tied to the back of the arm here. So it's still got a little bit of freedom, and it's not connected at the MMCX connector or the UHFL connector, whatever's in the middle. There's no pressure on that connector, so it shouldn't be breaking. All right, so thank you for tagging me so I can read your question. People asking about $120 drone video. Do we have any updates in mind for the eSheen trash can? Nope, I do not. That's for Boss Breaker. If by updates, like, are they updating it? I don't think so, but mine's broken. I think I flew that thing into the ground and it exploded into a million pieces at about 50 kilometers an hour into a wooden fence sign. I can remember that. Thanks very much, Wingman Jono. All right. Dwight Schrute, can you do a video explaining motors? Absolutely, I can, mate. It's on my channel, UAV. Google UAV Futures Motors Explained, and I'm pretty sure that's it. It goes through all KVs, it goes through this different sizing, status sizing, what motor is going to be right for you, all that sort of stuff. Spiritual Mummy, I'm purchasing batteries for my new FPV build I purchased. Any battery charger suggestions? The Sky RC Q200 or 200Q. That's the one I use. I really like that LiPo charger. Ah, Grumpy Trev is in the house as well. I wonder if he just watched that. I feel so soppy now talking about that in front of him. It's like blokes never get emotional in front of each other. But Trevor, if you watch this stream back, mate, you'll see the nostalgia for love in my eyes. But mate, you know, okay, Trevor, what we're going to have to do, and I'm sure the chat will let me know, would you ever want to see Trevor with me on the live stream? So I don't think the social distancing, he's not allowed to be in here, but maybe if I can pull up a different face cam, we might be able to organize a stream. Maybe we'll do one tomorrow or something. Would you guys like to see Trevor and myself answering some of these questions, and we can do a bit of a live stream together? All right. You can see, hello there, Stu. I'm jealous I sunk my best drone in a lake. Sorry about that, Lewis. Stephen, that's definitely not something that you want to be doing. And I want to give a shout out to a guy called Donnie as well, because he made an awesome, I think it was an Armaton, it wasn't a Badger, it was some Armaton little 3-inch. He flew that thing into a swamp, and he always talks about, I should go get that out, but he hasn't done that yet. All right, so everyone's saying yes, 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 Trevor. They definitely want you in here, brother. Malice is saying, yep, there's so many yeps in there. So definitely, oh, we only got 29 thumbs up, people. What's happening here? Give me a thumbs up if you want Trevor in the videos. That's what I should have said. Radio, do it. Just don't overlap with Bardwell's stream too much. I did have to check that, actually, what time his was on, because I didn't want to be doing exactly the same streams at the same times. I guess for me, it's all about what time works for me in my day. So once I wake up and I've got, got to feed my kids, all that sort of stuff, then it's time to do a stream. And then I guess, so it's all about what fits. I got to take them not to the park, but, spend some time with them. So for me, my streams, it's really catered around 2 young children and trying to cater these in here. All right, Zach Smith has a very specific question. Trevor wants to know, yeah, we can do a live stream. Sorry, Matt. We are going to come to your question, Zach. I guess I'm just excited about Grumpy Trevor. And he says, yeah, we can do a live stream, but how are you going to Bleep the bleeps we put in there. So he's called Grumpy Trev because the amount of swear words that man, Trevor, you'll be allowed to swear on the stream. Don't worry. I'll give a bit of a warning. Maybe, yeah, that's it. So if you swear, we'll I'll make you put a fine in the swear jar, but that's fine. You're allowed to swear. I would be happy to lose my monetization on the video from swearing, but if it means you're on here, and I think that's what people would love to see. So absolutely. Zach Smith, what's the best budget FlySky transmitter under $130 US? That's free Sky transmitter under 130 US. That's a very specific question. Um, what are our options? We've got the QX7 or the X9D Lite Pro. So I'd probably say either one of those. They're going to be very, very similar. So one of those two. Will we wear a mask? Russell Wolf. Oh, I've got to give Russ a shout out too. He's in here. He's another grumpy old bugger who I've met out on Discord. Man, this is becoming a nostalgic FPV trip down memory lane. And I got to give a shout out to Ross because this is another person that I've met. I have never met him in person, which is quite lucky for me because I'd probably get a bit scared with what he looks like. He's about 500 years old, but big shout out to Russ. I know we've sent each other a few packages. It's great to make friends, even if you never get to meet them in real life. Hopefully, I get to meet you one day in real life, Russ. But I remember he sent me over some stuff for my daughter, and there was like a little care package from him. I've sent him some drones in the past, and it's just nice to have these relationships all over the world. But that's another one who this is such an amazing hobby that brings people together. And also the Discord link, which is in the description, is where I met Russ. So I remember I pretty much chat to Russ daily as well. It's where I met Malice, who you saw me talking about before. I met Malice by talking to him on Discord. And I got to give a shout out. I've even met Malice in real life, actually. It's like a 12-hour drive that Malice has come down, and we've gone for a few flights and just had a good time. So, man, I love this hobby. For making friends, there's nothing better. Radio. Someone's. What are we having a look at here? Stu, where do you live? I've always wondered. You want my exact address? It is. That's from Nathan Lockby. We live down in the bottom of Victoria, brother. So, but of course, I won't say my exact address. Imagine waking up one day and then coming to the studio, and oh look, there's no drones left in here. Can you imagine if a thief burst into here and was like, right, let's have a look. What can we take? This house has nothing but drones in it. They'd get a bit of a shock. Unless they're a huge FPV nut, then they've of course hit the jackpot. All right, crazy Russian pilot. I have $1,000 budget to get into the hobby. What do you recommend? If you got that cash, save up a bit more. Get the DJI analog system. You are kind of close to the break point of getting the goggles, a full drone set up and everything, which might be about 1,300, and you have a far superior system to what you get if it was going to be at an analog. And I'm going to say, Ice Gold, your comment keeps getting hit, and mate, can you please stop spamming people to go check it out, all that sort of stuff. Apples wants Apple Tree. Why you fly Free Sky? I actually fly Crossfire now. I fly either the Crossfire link or the DJI link. Oh, and we got Ben tuning in as well, and Raven. These are all so many people coming in that I've met on Discord, so I can see Russ is there laughing. Oh, Gunner. Oh, jeez, this has become just a full Discord meetup. I don't know what's happening on my Discord. I should have probably checked that, and I should ping a link to this video actually. But a lot of good friends I've met on Discord seem to be in this chat now as well. So we'll just have to ignore some of the silly things that they say. Bear with me. I'm just going to post this link onto Discord. But if you try to message me on Discord, it's not going to work. It's only in the general chat, and usually we're in voice chat quite a lot as well. But because our Discord server has over 13,000 members in there, I do have to keep my messaging on private because it just goes a bit ridiculous. If you need to contact me, send me an email. Radio. I'm going to push Control V at everyone. YouTube. Warning, you're about to send this to a ton of people. Are you sure you want to do this? Yep. Okay. Right. And for those of you who don't know what Discord is, it is pretty much this, where you can go in, you can chat about all things drone. We've got some general chat. Share if you want to share your videos and you want other people to check them out, you can put these here. So, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to watch one person's video. Well, I have a quick 1 minute. Just going to go to the loo for 2 seconds. So, we've got some social distancing 3D FPV, and shout out to Titan Reaver right here. We're about to watch your video, brother. Hopefully, we're not going to get too much. Let me put this up here. But I'm going to say, I wonder, let's see what the music's like. Oh, we've got some hardcore trance here.
Gals and everyone in betwixt.
All right, we're gonna jump through here, mate, until we try some 3D FPV. Bear with me for how long have I got for this video? Ah, man, I'll be back in 1 minute time. I'm gonna have a quick loo break, but you guys can watch this and then I'll be back. 3D FPV is quite hard, so this looks like it won't be really, really quick, but if you're flipping around upside down and stuff, that's when it does get tricky. All right, back in 30 seconds.
Take me broken. Please, please,
All right, let me have a look here. How'd we go? FPV, that's not a bad pass. I'd be too scared to do that with 3D. Pretty chilled music. Oh. That was close. I thought you were going to eat the tree right there. Okie dokie. Let's, I'm just going to push pause here, Reaver, but thank you very much for providing our little, what do you call it? What do you call that when they used to have it in the movie? Intermission. Thank you for that little bit of an intermission. Dwight, Stu, you should promote your subreddit more on your YouTube videos. My subreddit? My Discord? Graham Stewart. What time is it there, Stu? It's 1:05 Monday morning here. It is 10 in the morning where we're at. And let me scroll down. There's quite a few things we've got to get through. Alrighty. Hey, Donnie. What's going on, brother? Another guy I got to give a shout out to on Discord. Thanks so much for the super chat, bro. Very much appreciate it. Helps support this channel. But yeah, Donnie, big fan of his. And also, I chat to him daily on Discord, like in voice chat. These people are jumping in, and it's just a great place to be. So if you haven't checked out our Discord link, it is definitely something that you should be doing. So here, I've got to press stop on Reaver's video. But yeah, if you haven't checked out the Discord, go and do it. The link's in the description. It's just a great place to meet pilots. But yeah, thank you so much, Don. You can go check out his channel. He does some pretty cool stuff. I think he's working on a recent edit as well. So, Donnie, if you post your video in Share My Vids, I'm sure somewhere. See, there's a lot of videos in here. I'm sure under Maples right here somewhere. Everybody go check that out as well. Alrighty, let's keep answering some of your questions. Jumping in here before I got too distracted. Dwight, did I wash my hands? Absolutely. More important than ever. Do you have any? Okay, Zach Smith. Do you have any advice on gaining sponsorships? Now, this is probably a big one. It depends what you want to get sponsored for. So, if you just write to everybody and you just want stuff for having free stuff, that's not really the way I would go about having a sponsorship, because you're not going to want to fly some rubbish motors, or you might have to. It works both ways where you don't just get stuff for free. It always comes at a cost. So what I would say, you need to be able to provide a benefit to the companies you want from getting sponsored. So whether do you have a large audience? Is your product going to reach a lot of people? Is it going to be seen in the top of the races? Are you doing some really cool stuff in some other industries? How much exposure are you giving that company? And then the return, what sort of return can you offer for somebody who's going to be sponsoring you their product? So let's say you want to be a motor sponsor. You want to get sponsored some motors. Look at the motor companies that you like. Are you using their products already? And I know for Granger, he was actually offered quite a lot, but he didn't want to fly anything until he had his T motor. So he was just flying around with T motor, and then eventually T motor actually contacted him and said, "Hey, look, we like what you're doing. What do you want to do in the future?" And he spoke to them and all that sort of stuff. So I think Granger still is sponsored by T-Motor. But my advice would be, make it as a normal pilot. You either need to be hitting the top of the races if you want to get sponsored, or you need to be building up a large audience, because a company is not going to send you anything unless you have something to offer in return. So if it's just you and your mum and your best friend watching, like if 3 people watch your video, and that's not really going to be worth it. So, and also email companies. Email the companies you like and say, "Hey, look, this is what I'm doing." I did that when I first started. I emailed some companies and said, "Hey, this is what I'm doing in my videos." I know with Armaton, I was like, "Look, would you like me to? Can we work out some sort of deal? Can we figure something out?" And a sponsorship doesn't have to be free stuff. A sponsorship could be like even just a small discount. Maybe you can get free shipping, that sort of stuff to help with some of those videos. And if you are a small channel with limited parts to offer, or if you have smaller, what can I say, things to offer that company, you don't have to take the full sponsorship. Maybe you can just meet halfway or meet a third of the way. There might be some deal you can work on depending on how much value you actually have for that person or for that company. So look, hopefully that helped a little bit. Malice Vex, play one of your favorite vids. I forgot to put it in the super chat. All right. Oh, you gave me a super chat, brother. What are you doing? Oh, thanks so much, man. Very much appreciated. All right, one of my favorite vids. Well, I guess let's play. I should actually play a Malice Vex video right here. And then we'll go back to an old nostalgic video that I also really liked. So, Malice Vex, I think it was the kangaroo video. All right, let's have a look here. I don't know if he put copyrighted music in here. Check out, and for people who don't understand just how much of a pest kangaroos are in Australia, they are everywhere, but that doesn't mean we want bad things to happen to them. So shout out to Malice here for pretty much shooing them away from the road. All right, look at these things. This is if you type up Malice Vex kangaroo, you can go check out this video. This one is actually pretty cool. They're pretty much like a giant bunny rabbit. And I think it gets really cool in a minute. They all start, and I'm sure some animal people might be upset. Yeah, don't fly close to animals, but it was good. He shoot them away from the road. And I think at the end, they're just looking at the camera. Skipping. Then I think he probably had low low battery voltage. But yeah, definitely go check that video out as well. Alrighty. Is it worth moving to Crossfire? This one's from Vladdy Lexki. Is it? I hope I said that correctly. Is it worth moving to Crossfire? I don't do long range, race and fly in the park and in the field and so on. Well, I would say how much RX loss are you actually getting now? If you're on, let's say, something like Free Sky, are you getting any dropouts, any fail safes? If not, well then if you have no issues with what you're currently using, you don't need to make the switch. Do you like the radio you have? You don't need to make the switch. Are you slightly annoyed with the radio you've got? Maybe think about the Tango 2. Do you sometimes get fail safes? Maybe think about moving to Crossfire. That's probably what I would say to do there. All right. We're having a look here. Best beta flight rates for the 4ATH2. I don't know what that means. Peter Eastwood. We got Mikey in there as well. Young Buckets. How do you set a low battery warning on your goggles like the EV 800Ds? I don't know. I don't even know if the EV 800Ds have that option for a battery warning. I don't actually have a pair of the EV 800Ds anymore. That was quite an old goggle. But maybe, is it in the menu? You could probably have a bit of a Google. Crazy Russian Pilot wants to know best budget goggle, and that would be the Hawkeye VR Pros. These are some questions. These seem to be coming up all the time. People love budget gear, best budget stuff, and I would say, yeah, I call them the Nun goggles, the Hawkeye VRs. You can Google best, I think it's best cheap goggle, your futures, and there's my recommendation right there. Watching from Ireland, this one, shout out to Herbie. M87 and Norris, man. I don't know what the time in Ireland is. Hopefully, you've got some better weather than we do right now. Malice Vex is saying for the EV800Ds, when the battery symbol turns red, that's when it's running low. So you actually have that warning built in there. Too easy. So, Epiloki, have you ever tried OTG things, the one that connects your PC and your phone at UAV Futures? I have not, but I think I have seen Long Range Tony connect up, because I only just recently made the switch to an Android phone, but I've seen Long Range Tony connect his drone up to his phone using one of those cables, and it seemed to work fine. So, and speaking of a long range Tony, so this is what a good segue we've got there. But when you first talking about still the same theme, meeting people in FPV and just how same sort of thing. I think I got an email from someone, and it was from Tony, and he said, "Oh, hi Stu, I've been watching your videos. I think we're in the same town. Would you be able to?" Oh, and shout out to Dodgy who's just joined as well. So many cool people in this chat actually. Anyway, but I got an email, yeah, and Tony said, "Hey, can you help me get into this hobby?" He came over, we built him up a drone, and I can remember he wanted one of these frame kits. I was like, "Yeah, here you go, you can have this frame kit," and he took it home. But then he came back and he's like, "Stu, that frame kit you gave me, it's got 3 5-inch arms and 1 4-inch arm." So, oh, sorry, my mistake. So we fixed him up and sent him on his way, and he built a drone up because he was originally using, it was like a Wakira Runner, a really dodgy old drone. It was getting fail safe, so wasn't having a good time. He built up the drone that I'd given him, and then I think he bought like an Armaton Chameleon about a week later, and he was hooked. He'd bitten the bug. And it's great because Tony is not only such a nice person as well, don't tell him I said that, but also he has so much knowledge when it comes. He's been in this hobby. He's been in RC since he was a kid. His first job when he was about 13 years old back in England was working, I believe, in a RC shop, which he worked in for a couple of years. And he's always been in this hobby, in aviation, working on that sort of stuff. So it's great to have his knowledge and his RC experience along on the channel. And the amount of stuff that he knows about flight, about setting up wings, about aviation. Santa's I don't know, he's just a very smart dude who's also very funny, but it's nice to be able to ask him a lot of questions and learn from him as well when it comes to RC stuff. All right. So let's see what else we got. Oh, Discord's in the description. Absolutely. If you need to go check the Discord in, it is in there. But I want to give a shout out too. I know we popped in quickly in the middle of this stuff. I think shout out to Dodgy. Oh, Donny's giving me another super chat, bro. Thank you so much for that $1.99. You didn't have to do that. Yeah, shout out to Dodgy as well. I've met him in Discord. He helps out a lot on the Discord chat. So thank you so much to all these. There's so many nice people in this chat that are watching here. So yeah, shout out to everyone. You all know who you are. And whether you watch my videos, weekly, whether you're a Patreon supporter of mine, whether you're in this stream right now, whether you're one of the people who I fly with in real life, one of the people I have met up with at the UPE events, or whether you're one of the people on Discord, I guess the UAV Futures crew that really helps oil this machine. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for keeping this show on the road and doing what we do and just having these connections. Hopefully you're enjoying it as much as I am, because I couldn't be doing it without your support. And everybody does something a little bit different and brings something different to the table. But I'm very grateful I'm talking to you guys right now. I'm very grateful for everything you do and the friendships that I've got in this hobby because of this hobby, the friendships that I have. Anyway, that's getting way too soppy. Right here. Is it normal? Okay, this one's from Jeff at UAV Futures, and thank you so much for tagging me. It makes it easy to read this question. Is it normal to feel more comfortable learning to fly line of sight than with the goggles at first? I'm having a hard time learning to fly. Jeff, don't worry, my friend. Yes. When I first flew my drone, I remember getting my radio out, going for a buzz. I'm like, whoa, this thing's got a lot of power. It was cool. I'd be flying it around, and this is about 5-6 years ago when people hadn't seen drones everywhere as well. They were still a relatively new thing, and the amount of power that these had, people would often, even on a 3S, be like, "That thing sounds insane," and they are insane. But I remember flying them, and then I put the goggles on, and it was stressful, man. Like you lose your peripheral vision. Sorry, I'm bumping the mic. You lose your peripheral vision. You can't see where you're going. It was an anxiety-inducing event. But here's what you need to do. You need to stick at it. Don't go and do one pack and be like, that's enough, I'm going inside. Say, right, I'm going to do these 4 batteries. Go somewhere safe, fly around, tell yourself, what's the worst that can happen? Something could break, but the drone is going to be, it's going to land in a field, no biggie, and there's no one around. I'm not going to hurt anyone. I'm not going to hurt anything. There's no other people's property around. Learn to fly, do 4 packs, go again the next day, do 4 packs, and you will find that anxiety will start to fade. The stress of learning to fly will start to dissipate. I don't need to think turn left. What am I doing here? I'll pitch right. That will start to disappear, and all of a sudden you'll be noticing you would do a pack, and I can remember when it happened. You will do a flight, and it will click, and your brain will just be like, "Wow, I'm free. I am flying." And you're kind of just, oh, I'm going to go over there. Oh, I'm going to go under this tree. And it is the most surreal, amazing experience. It gives me goosebumps just thinking about that experience when you stop trying to fly, you stop being stressed about flying, and you just fly. And you go where you want to go. Just keep at it. It is 1,000 times worth it. And that feeling, that is addictive. When you get that, you are going to be going home and you're not being like, man, that was stressful. Like, oh, gee, that was hard work. That gave me a bit of anxiety today. You're going to be like, okay, Google what I shouldn't say that too loud because it'll set everybody's phone off. But you'll be saying you will be Googling things like, what's the weather tomorrow? How much wind is there? When is it going to stop raining? Where's my next bill going to be? It's a slippery slope that is fantastic to be on. Radio. And some people just spamming in here, so I'm just going to see if I can block this person. That's settled. Remove. Put user in timeout. There we go. Some people just spamming. Hi. Radio. Dodgy's giving me a happy face, so thanks very much. Okay, and he's been booted. Fated Prodigy, hello. It's so funny that today is the day I get on and look for a drone and see you online live. What's the best drone set up for $200? I want to fly around my neighborhood. So hopefully your neighborhood is somewhere safe where you're not flying near cars, people, property, anything like that. So if you say you want to fly around your neighborhood, my first thing, you need to be safe, find somewhere that is suitable for flying. $200 setup is probably a little bit cheap to get in and have a full FPV kit, like with a full 5-inch racing drone. But I do have a $300 kit that is on my channel somewhere. Best budget entry $300 kit. You can go watch that, and it comes with the Lava X, which is a smaller little drone. It's still heaps of fun to rip around. It's a little bit safer as well, but you get a decent radio with it that then you can then upgrade, and also you get a decent set of goggles. So I think it's the Hawkeye Nun goggles or the Hawkeye Pilot VR goggles you get as well, which are really good budget value goggles. So that's what I would say to get to Fated Prodigy. You are not going to get a full 5-inch drone with full fat shark goggles with a full proper radio. The radio is probably actually working out to be relatively good value nowadays, whichever radio you get. But yeah, you're not going to get something like this drone for the $200 price mark. For $300, you can start to look at a very beginner kit, which is still more than adequate and is also upgradable. But if you want to get a full-fledged one, it's probably going to be about 500 minimum for a fairly decent kit. Or if you want to go digital, you're probably looking at about 1300. And yes, but for $200, I don't think there is beginner kits like the Emax Ready to Fly kit. I know some people will be talking about that. But if you want to fly around your neighborhood, and we're talking about going to parks and places, you probably need something with a little bit more grunt. And please be safe. Above all, when you say fly around your neighborhood, don't fly around like suburbia. Don't fly over people's houses or homes or anything like that. Just fly away from people. You don't want to be near people. Always think, what's the worst that could happen? And if the worst that could happen is your drone crashing and breaking and nothing else is damaged, that's fine. You don't want to be damaging other people or property, because that's not only bad for you, it's also bad for the entire hobby. Let's have a look here. Joseph S. This looks like some people. Crazy Russian Pilot wants to know, how do I find FPV spots? Well, Google Maps, driving around, meeting other pilots. Meeting other pilots is probably a big one. So I got to give a shout out. The other week, I had a message, went out, met up with some cool people, and yeah, they were like, hey, check this spot out. I'd never been there before, and that's where in one of my recent Happy Flying videos, it's like, man, this spot is amazing, and it's 5 minutes down from my road, down from where I live, so I didn't even know that spot existed. So other pilots are a great way, or other RC members are a great way to find out spaces you want to go and fly. The OG Kent West wants to know, hey Stu, how are you? I am well, brother. Thank you very much. I'm happy, healthy, and very fortunate. So I would say, what more could you want in life? I'm very fortunate with a lovely family and 2 amazing kids. So I couldn't really ask for more. And I get to do what I am extremely passionate about, which is sharing this hobby of FPV with people. So I get to do that as my career. So yeah, I'm well. I'm really, really well. Thank you. Okay, do I think the radio TX16 is going to be good? Because I'm about to pre-order that as my first radio. Greetings from Germany. Someone's from Mikey. I think it's going to be okay. I'm going to have a guess at about 7 out of 10. It's going to feel a little bit cheaper, maybe than the than the Jumper T16, and I don't know how the customer support's going to be. And you're getting an awful lot though for the price, because I think they're pretty cheap radios. So I'm not too sure. But I don't think you're going to be disappointed. But in saying that, I haven't tested that radio, so I don't take that with a grain of salt. All right. Simon Peter Eastwood, bro, why does my Tiny Hawk 2 not stay in the air? I have no throttle control. Is the battery flat? I don't know. Is one of the props broken? Is one of the motors burnt out? Is one of the motor little tabs how it come loose? Is your radio set up incorrectly? What would you recommend? Ethan, we've already recommend. If anybody's asking about goggles, and at the start of the stream, we recommended over the Sky Zones over the Fat Sharks. Dwight wants to know, what are some good, cheap, tiny whoops? So, well, how much is cheap, Dwight? I don't know. If we have a look here, let's get Malice's Kanga Banga video off. And do you know we actually have some? Here we go. We're getting really distracted here. Kanga Bangers. Here we go. Woolworths, which is like our main shopping center. People won't believe this, so that's why I had to Google it. You get a Kanga Banger, which is a kangaroo sausage. So yeah, we have so many kangaroos. It's like literally in the supermarket. Do you want beef sausages? Yeah. Do you want pork sausages? Yeah. Do you want kangaroo sausages? Here you go. Here's your kanga banger. So yeah, those that video we were just watching, yeah, we eat those bad boys. They're actually pretty tasty too. It's a really healthy lean meat. But $6 for 500 grams. Cheap tiny whips. That's what we're getting distracted on. I would say, well, is the Mob 6 cheap? Because the Mob 6 is amazing. So I don't know. If I was going to get one, I would definitely be picking up the Mob 6. Or you could just get a really cheap UK 65 or something like that. All right. Sky and water. FPV is like owning a boat. Got to pay to play. I know I've spent quite the grip since I started flying. What is the last setup you spent on your own loot? Batteries. Last thing I bought would be batteries. So I wish I had some amazing battery sponsors, but they're just one thing that you push them through its limits, and then it's time to go get the new one. So batteries were the last thing that I purchased, which was probably about 2 months ago. I got a shipment of batteries in. Ben is asking, actually, every time I scroll down with the mouse wheel, it like jumps a whole bunch. It makes it kind of tricky to find out. We're at V Myget wants to know, do I have a 3D printer? Yes, I do. I have some old school one, actually. I don't know if I can see the name of it right here. JE Aurora or something like that. It's kind of set up just out of screen, but I don't use it as much as I would like to. Man, I definitely need a haircut. I picked a bad time to skip getting a haircut before the world locked down. If you have a props off wants to know if you could have any transmitter, what would it be? Considering it's for quads only. Easy. That's the Tango 2. The Tango 2 is everything I want in a quad radio. It is small, it is portable, it fits well in your hands. It's got crossfire built in. It's got some perfect switches that I'm not going to knock, and it doesn't have too many stupid switches. I don't need. I literally could fly with if we had to get bare bones with 5 channels with just arm switch, arm disarm. That's it. But I do like having a switch for modes. I like having a switch for a buzzer, and I like having turtle mode. I don't use anything from that. So, and you can even set them up on multiple stages on the switch. So it could be buzzer. So I think I have buzzer and turtle mode set up on the same part in the same channel. Just depends where it is on that slider. But yeah, all you need, the Tango 2's got you covered more than enough. That is my dream radio, and it lasts for ages too. Um, all right, yeah, we do eat kangaroo. That's from Black Pirate. Still jumping back to the some people saying they preferred crocodile. All right, I think that jumped. Here we go. Here we go. This one's from man. I don't know how to pronounce some of these names. Tethski. At UAV Futures, just starting at the beginning of Feb. It's been getting harder to go out and fly due to what's going on. Any tips for a beginner learning to fly in the sim? Still trying to fly weekly. So learning to fly in the sim, my biggest tip right there, jump on, stick time, stick time, stick time. Here's a good one. If you're going to learn any activity, don't, and you want to improve your skills drastically, like say you're learning to play piano, it could be you're learning to juggle a soccer ball, whatever it is. If you've got 5 hours a week to do that, do not do one 5 hour session. Your brain is much better suited to learning in 5 1 hour short sessions than one 5 hour long session. So even if you broke it up, just do 20 minutes a day or 40 minutes a day on the sim, and your skills will drastically improve. That is the best way the human brain can learn. Faded Parody, Prodigy. Thanks for answering my question. Absolutely, no, my pleasure, bro. That's why I'm here, sharing the knowledge, the love, all about FPV. At Ben's also telling Dodgy you can get it in. Yeah, you can get kangaroo patties. Kangaroo. It pretty much is what I imagine, like saber-toothed tiger or something would take. It has like this real barbaric sort of caveman taste to it. Anyway, that's how I've always thought about when you're eating kangaroo. If someone just tuned in now, they'll be like, "What is this stream? What are these people talking about?" James Shield. I fly thumbs on the Jumper T16, mainly crossfire, and shaky left thumb is killing me. Can you recommend a slim profile games console type controller? I feel like I know that is a serious question, but this video was ever sponsored by TBS Tango 2. That's what this would be the perfect question for that. The TBS, this could be TBS head marketing sitting in there. I've got a great idea. Let's pose this question. Type this in. Yeah, there you go. TBS Tango 2. Google that transmitter. That's all we've been talking about, it seems like, in this chat. James, you'd quite enjoy that. All right. Okie dokie. We have Tavares has given me a real habit. I'm at about 16 packs a day of the Mobula 6. That's from Mr. Shady. Yeah, absolutely. If you are stuck indoors, what I'm going to go charge some packs up after this and fly around, definitely. But I need my Mob 6 back from Trevor. Trevor's had it for ages. Too easy. Donnie, all good. Thanks, brother. Very much appreciated. Thank you for watching. I have a beginner question. This one's from Juniver Vesig. I hope that's how I pronounce that. I have a beginner question. Is it safe to power up the drone using a 12 volt 1000 milliamp adapter while working on it on Betaflight? If it's 12 volt, I imagine so. I think so. Which sim do I recommend? You know what? I think the sim you have the most fun on is the most important here, because the muscle memory you're going to get regardless of whether using Velocidrone, Liftoff, DCL, FPV Freerider, FPV Air 2, whatever it is going to be fine. But I think a sim you enjoy flying, and one I really did have fun with, was the new DCL sim. It's kind of it is a little bit arcadey, but you're still going to have a great time flying around. Like it's fun, so you're going to want to do it more, which I think is outweighs even if Velocidrone or Liftoff feels a little bit more accurate. DCL is more fun. All right, Joe. Oh, I got to give a shout out too for Joe. He said what's up before as well at the start of the stream. But Joe learned to solve a Rubik's cube in a 8-hour session. Got to love those Corona skills. All right. Call it gamey here. That's from Dodgy. We're still talking about kangaroos. Apple Borov. If all my complete build will cost $700, is it good cost? iFlight goggles, controller, charger, props, batteries, motors. I think for $760, you definitely can get a really strong value kit. So where you are going to meet performance meets price, and it's going to last. What's that called? Value. Where it's going to last you. You won't need to upgrade your goggles or radio, and your drones will probably be high quality drones as well. So yeah, I'd say that's a absolutely respectable price to get in and have a good time. All right, Derek Etchter. How do I set up my Cine King with RunCam hybrid to start and stop recording with my TX? You know what? I don't actually know. I know it's possible, and I'm sure that there is camera controls in the Betaflight OSD. You can go in and select, I believe it's RunCam, but you'd have to look at the manual that comes with it, and it would say, it will give you those stick commands or switch commands or something that you can set up then in Betaflight. But off the top of my head, I don't know. What I usually do, just press it usually just starts recording as soon as I put my SD card in there and power the drone on. But you are right. That would be a cool project to learn on. Maybe I'll have to do a video about that or something. That would be interesting to learn about. All right. Let's, what have we got here? Stingy FPV's live. So definitely after this stream, go check him out. I got nothing but love for Stingy. He's an amazing, well, I've never met him in person. I've had some communication with him, but he seems like a really cool, nice dude that loves this hobby. He left his job for this hobby, and I don't think he was, I don't want to get political here with his FPV career, but now where he's at, he's doing things for himself. He's really trying to, I guess, work on improving this hobby and growing this hobby, and nothing but love for him. He's just seems like a really nice person as well. A really happy dude that seems to be a lot of fun to go flying with. So huge shout out to Stingy FPV. If you don't know who he is, you can go check his channel out. All right. This one is from Jake and Whale. Hello, I subscribed to your channel about 3 years ago and bought a Wizard X220. I've flown my drone once in the past 2 years and have 3 batteries. It's illegal and my Xperia and expensive. That's unfortunate. That's no good. Definitely don't break the law. I'm not going to be condoning that. But maybe you could. I don't know where you could go fly. What about if it's on your own property or something? I'm not too sure. Righty. My question of this one's from Sky and Water, mate. Is that the equation, the answer to life, on the whiteboards behind you? Yeah, right over here. That's called having a toddler who comes in here when I'm editing some videos. She stands on this chair, picks the texture out of there, never puts the lids on them, so these are all over the floor, and just does a big scribble on the wall. Let's have a look here. So Derek saying thanks, my absolute pleasure, bro. Favorite flight software: Kiss, Flight One, or Betaflight? Betaflight all the way, but it's personal preference because I'm so used to how easy it is to set up and go through and use that. It's like the common one. It'd probably like saying to a lot of people, what do you prefer over Windows, Mac, Linux? Sounds like Linux is great. A lot of people seem to rave about it, and if you know that software, it's probably fantastic. Even though I think, I'm not a huge fan. I have a Mac laptop. It sucks with what I try to do, but that might be because I don't know how to use it and I'm not as familiar with it. Same thing with Betaflight. Betaflight for me works really well, but Flight 1 in the past, when I've set that up, was also extremely easy to set up. I'm just more familiar. If something goes wrong, I know I can troubleshoot better on Betaflight. Okay, props off. Dodgy's talking about PCs there. No, it's called a master. Oh, this is a masterpiece. Yeah, we'll have to take that down and be like, yeah, here's some artist, some rich person, come by that amazing artwork in the background, please. Too easy. And you know what? I think right there, unless you've got some last little questions, I might be ending the stream for a little bit. But let me know, thumbs up, thumbs down. If you want Grumpy Trev in here, if you want me to organize figuring out a live stream with Grumpy Trev, let me know if you would like that. Hit the thumbs up. That'll definitely help me. Raven stopped in here too. I've got to give Raven a shout out. There's a few people, Duck and Raven, the few people I have met, this sounds so weird, on the internet that have crashed at my house. So they've come down, gone out flying, they've crashed here, we've gone out flying the next day. So shout out to Raven as well. It must have to be someone who I relatively have some level of respect for to invite you into my house and have dinner with me and my family. So yeah, too easy. RC this. What's the next big thing in RC? Probably me, bro. I'm going to become the next big thing with all this lack of exercise that I'm doing and just sitting in front of this computer eating bags of chips and chocolate, especially with Easter. So, yeah, I don't know about the next exciting thing, but definitely in terms of gaining mass, that's probably going to be me sitting here in this chair. I got a few thumbs up. Thanks everybody who did that. We've got to get Grumpy Trev in here. Very much appreciated. Thanks everybody who also, if you're a Patreon supporter, I'm going to say, or you're thinking about it, I couldn't do this channel without Patreon. So there is a link there. Everybody go click on it. It's in the description. Whether you sign up or not, at least please click on it and read it and find out, is this something you might consider doing? Even the $1 or $2 a month makes a huge difference, because at the moment it is really tricky I hate to talk about this stuff too much, but it's really tricky for me to get outside and keep working and do flying because it's currently in lockdown. How am I meant to review this when I'm not allowed to go outside and not allowed to be in the park, all that sort of stuff? So the government says no. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Definitely subscribe for more FPV related content, and hopefully the stream time works for you, and we might look at doing something a little bit more in the future. And the last thing I want to say, go check out, let's have a look here. Let's do a bit of streaming in streaming. This right here. It should actually be in my video inbox, in my subscriptions. How do I look at this? I thought it'd be coming up first things first. Is it Stinger Swarm FP? Hang on. Stinger Swarm FPV. Let's have a look at this. It's going to be, we're going to go watch Stingy Swarm, or Stingy right now. That's him. So he's watching some cool stream. Inception, stream in stream in stream. Go check his stuff out. He does some really, really cool stuff. So I'm going to be logging off, but go check out Stingy, give him a big boost. Say, hey, Stu says hi, told us to all jump in here. So if you're watching this, go jump his stuff. Subscribe for more FPV related content. Thank you to everybody. I will see you guys soon. And as always, happy flying. Now I've got to figure out how to push this stop at the stream. Stop at the stream. This is always the hardest part too, learning how to do these streams for me. Too easy. Anyway, happy flying, boys and girls, and mums and dads and kids.